Battlezone 2, the game that warms my cockles when it's cold out, regales me with camaraderie when I am all alone.
Do you have any stories?
You won't give up, will ya? You know just how to tug at my heartstrings, to fondle my imagination with dreams of hovering battle tanks roaring across alien planets. Well, I won't let you down, old fella. Let's tease open one of your nooks and crannies for me. For you, for the fans, present and future. Let's get into it. Battlezone 2, MPI. So MPI, what is it? How does it work? MPI is short for Multiplayer Instant. In the early days of online gaming, having a stable and fast internet connection was a real luxury. So developers often bundled an offline mode of play to stimulate the online experience, but only this time with bots. Instant Action was born. On launch, BZ2 came pre-built with this feature, and it was a hoot crafting and tackling challenges made with the editor. Players compared their stats, scores, they experimented with custom units, and they even attempted to reach the hidden Scion base by beating all the stock maps on hard. Sadly, this still hasn't been done. Even more sad was that, with the diminishing number of players due to congenital diseases, and the lack of an influx of new ones due to unavailability of the game on first-hand markets, it became ever more difficult to get a game going. A doubly twisted, ironical tragedy, considering that the netcode to this game had just been near perfected by the ceaseless toilings of its rogue crack team of coders.
Do you have any stories?
Not ones to accept defeat lightly, they took a sad song and made it better. Instant Action was brought to the multiplayer arena. This hot seat style co-op mode was perfect for an uncertain pool of players. Players are able to drop and go, enjoy themselves at whim whenever they please. The sheer inertia of design ensured that as long as one or two players were serious about winning, it would be done. But who am I to bore you with history? It's about the game. It's not about the history. When will I learn? So let's get into it. MPI. I presume you're up to date on the latest patches? If not, you're going to want to check the links in my descriptions. Also, like, comment, and subscribe to my videos. One of the joys of playing MPI is tinkering with all the options before getting into the game. Like some mad scientist, would you play starting recycler Greenheart with thugs, AI scrap cheat level 3, AIP wug insane? Or do you savor a more vanilla experience? Whatever flavor that you choose, your game is bound to be sprinkled with fun. Another one of the joys of MPI. Like the sand on a warm Caribbean beach, the joys are so numerous. Is discovering all the workings of the AI. I don't want to spoil this for you, so I'll say at the bat, there be spoilers ahead. But I'm confident things won't be too spoiled. As Goldilocks says, I'll do it just right. So what you want to do is push. Typically, this is a strategy employed in strat games against human players. But unless you're looking forward to a 3-hour game, you're going to want to do it here too. The AI won't start attacking until about 4 minutes in, so don't even worry about building your own defenses. Send some scavs to every pool, and 1 or 2 to collect scrap. It won't matter if you lose the pools close to their base. We're just hoping you'll hold them off long enough to prevent the enemy from building higher level units. The AI does scrap cheat, but their limits do depend on the number of pools held at any given time. In the meantime, you'll want to focus on taking out the pre-built pool defenses and statues. As ISDF, simply mortar out of range. As Scion, be sure to strafe. Unfortunately, the statues might be out of range of your weapons, so you may want to wait until you acquire MDM mortars or archers. So where have you planted your recycler? If you're smart like me, as close to the enemy base as possible. On every map, this is different. Pay careful attention to terrain. In some occasions you'll be able to plant, but the terrain will become deformed and you won't be able to expand your base. Somebody get this guy a shovel. Too bad there aren't any. As ISDF, you'll want to build to rocket tanks with Hornets real quick. This is the best defense against enemy bombers, which invariably will begin to approach around about 9 minutes. If you couldn't make it in time, don't fret. They can always be shot down by a player who's quick on the trigger. Even a dropped bomb offers a target, so never give up. Keep watching the skies. Playing as Scion against Bomber is a little bit more difficult. Archers with poppers are fine, but so high up the tech tree you'll be without them for a while. But you're playing Scion for a challenge, right? Now that we've got the basics down, the battle has begun. Don't fret if the fighting starts... Don't fret if the AI starts to take the line. At this point, scrap will be falling in buckets, and a few scavs can easily turn the tide. So howdy folks. This is the live portion of the review. First off, I gotta say this review's been a long time in coming, primarily because of the Lightworks editor program. It's giving me lots of compatibility issues with reading the format file types. I guess their excuse is that, or a broadcast, traditional-based video editor, but come on, video editing is not a traditional thing. It's a new and evolving industry, and I mean, the fact that you can't import an MP4 without problems, granted there are different types of containers and codec options, but it's a simple, it should be a simple fact from user end. And I guess also another one of the excuses is that, they have licensing issues because this product is put on the market, so to speak, with trial versions and what have you. But, I paid for the subscription, so I figure I can have that issue resolved at least. Other than that, it's a decent editing program. It provides me with a very unique perspective, which matches kind of how, in your head, you might want to visualize, your storyboards and what have you. So it's a good program with lots of bugs and flaws, lots of hang-ups, lots of troubles. If I'm doing just live video editing, it's perfect because it has no trouble. I guess it does have trouble importing the MTS files from my camera. The trouble comes in from the fact that I had to download a third-party filter to decode the audio, which is another workaround. They make it jump through hoops. Anyway, let's go on with the show. Let's get into it. Let's get into Battlezone 2 MPI. So one of the things you got to know about in MPI is that it's more like a party system. It's not about real challenges, so to speak. It's about getting up with your buds, chilling back, smoking some ganja or sipping some gin and juice, with your mind on the scrap and the scrap on your mind, because you got to get those tanks built pronto. One of the things though, don't be seduced by the allure. There are some trollers. They'll join your MPI game and try to destroy it, and then they'll say like, "Oh, you got to play strat." Come on, why you gotta play strat? I'm playing MPI right now, don't bug me. The folks that you're gonna look out for are Rambone 32 and Skeletors with all Z's. I think he might be Hungarian or something, but he's a deadly morbid folk. He doesn't put up with nonsense, he creates the nonsense. So gentler folks be warned. Oh, hey, Mike Bronson. Yeah, I'm sorry, we got the pizza bar closed at the moment. I'm doing a video
What's going
here,
on?
can't you see, about Battlezone 2.
Oh yeah, Battlezone 2. You can hang out, play with your
so you heard
buddies.
of
I
it.
I can really imagine myself being in a hover tank, floating
No,
around enemy
well, come back in
Think
2
about how
hours.
cool
We'll
that
have
would be if
we'll
I
have
had one of
these
my
ovens
own.
in heat for you, and they'll make you some nice cheesy, tasty goodness.
Well, I'll be seeing
the character
you.
that
I'll
Mike
be seeing
Bronson. He just comes trolling in. You think you got rid of him, and he disappears. But anyway, some other thoughts about the game itself. Like I said, watch out for the bomber. That's the pitfall of all noobs, because they don't realize that you have to. The AI. That's the one AI. That's the trick it has up its sleeve. If you are not protected against the bomber, it's going to start taking out your pools. Make sure you got to get three pools. That's your minimum aim, because once you get 3 pools, especially with the Greenheart variants, you need 85 scrap to get the heavy rocket tanks. That's the thing. Like I mentioned, the game changes drastically depending on what kind of recycler variant you choose. And pay attention to the maps, because the statues on certain maps, the GH maps have the statues, the regular MPI maps don't. Depending on the GH maps, depending on where the statues are placed, the game's flow can change drastically too. Some of the mega statues, you don't want to play the mega statue maps with the noobs, because they'll go and try to attack the mega statues, and ambushers and all kinds of splinter ships will start destroying your base. But anyway, we got into it. Maybe next time we'll get into some other things. We'll get into some strategy.